so great. I'm so glad you said this because this literally is exactly what I want to talk about. I'm like busting from the seams right now.
Yes, go
It's
ahead.
because
Yeah.
is Lestat racist?
What I feel like is sus about not Louis Lestat. It's not that he's white. It's that he's white and he pretends like he doesn't acknowledge his whiteness and pretends like he doesn't understand racism. There's definitely biases and racism, right?
For sure.
When they're first looking for people to eat and Louis having issues with it, every single person that Lestat chooses is black. In the way of like he believes that black people are less.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't know.
I think he's racist in the sense like I don't see color kind of racist. You know what I mean? Like I don't see. It's not the big deal to me. You know what I mean? Like Louis will always see himself as a black man first. You know what I mean? And I think that's a huge part of his character and why him and Lestat have so many difficulties at the beginning. Like Lestat or Louis is like trying to eat rats and shit. And I think Louis is trying to eat rats and shit not only because he's scared of becoming a vampire, but because he understands what it's like to be at the bottom of the totem pole. You know,
Lestat, man. Honestly, I kind of had a different feeling with Lestat, and I don't even know. Only because I'm suspicious of a white dude that's trying to help you like that. Like it just, I was a little like he looked like appreciated Louis being seen in that way, just being seen, like being like, hold up, you a boss, man. What you doing for these folks? But at the same time, I was very, very suspect of Lestat. And it wasn't actually until probably the sort of peak of season 1 where I was like, something felt incorrect about the portrayal of the story. Oh, specifically when they made Claudia, I was like, hold up. Because I was like,
weird.
This is a fucking weird thing. And I was like, I was talking to my wife about it because I made her watch it. I was like, wait.
I don't know. That feels like a regular couple who's dysfunctional. Like, let's have a baby that'll bring us together. I think that's what Claudia's for. But
that's a great gem right there. Yeah, it does feel like that.
I think that's what it's supposed to be. But Louis, I agree. I think he's sus. What I feel like is sus about not Louis Lestat. It's not that he's white. It's that he's white and he pretends like he doesn't acknowledge his whiteness and pretends like he doesn't understand racism.
Wait, because we got a question about this.
This is so great. I'm so glad you said this because this literally is exactly what I want to talk about. I'm like busting from the seams right now. It's because is Lestat racist? Is Lestat racist?
Yeah, so racism has many tiers. I think he brings up race. He's like, you know, he has this chip on his shoulder, and he says it many times. And that's what I didn't like about Louis is that he pretended like he didn't understand the nuances of race. Like he wasn't 400 fucking years old and didn't experience, see, and witness racism firsthand, and maybe not experience it, but he's seen like, yo, I copped this black shorty. I couldn't go to places with him, or he was, you know, getting convicted for this, that, and the third. And he can read thoughts. He could hear these.
He knows. Yeah, he knows. Yeah.
He knows how they perceive Louis. He knows how. So he knows, and he pretends like he doesn't. I don't think he's racist in the way of like he believes that black people are less.
Yeah.
I think. So I don't know.
I think he's racist in the sense like I don't see color kind of racist. You know what I mean? Like I don't see. It's not the big deal to me. You know what I mean? Like there was a time where they brought up the history of like Louisiana, and he's talking about the artistry is so nice. It's like, and Louis like, did they tell you what in that book you read? Did they tell you what they did to black people? And he's like, I haven't got to that chapter yet. I'm like, you little bitch. Yeah.
But that's because Lestat lives in flowers. Rose-colored glasses at all times. And so whenever you're there and you want to break that reality and talk about something real, Lestat doesn't. And that's why he's so fucking funny. Because when he breaks it, he breaks character for a second, and then, you know, he straightens himself up and goes back, right? She says, who's going to fuck me? And Lestat says, you're not my type. He tries to make it funny again, right? He says, I heard your heart's dancing. And he relaxes again. He says, why do you do this? And Lestat's like, I like to do it. He loses his temper, and then he goes back. And that's because Lestat is like, we're immortal. We're gods. Why are we bringing in emotions? Why are we bringing in these types of thoughts, you know?
Race, these human thoughts. Like he almost feels as though is that he's above race. Because he's transcended, and he's like a god almost. You know what I mean? And he almost expects like Lestat to like work, or not Lestat, but Louis to kind of worship him in a way. And I think it's the relationship between them is very much a relationship where it's like Louis will always see himself as a black man first. You know what I mean? And I think that's a huge part of his character and why him and Lestat have so many difficulties in the beginning. Like Lestat or Louis is like trying to eat rats and shit. And I think Louis is trying to eat rats and shit, not only because he's scared of becoming a vampire, but because he understands what it's like to be at the bottom of the totem pole. You know what I mean? And now he's at the top. You know what I mean? And he knows that black people are at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? And so this is like him, like almost like I can't be like a white person, you know, and just emote through these people like this and eat all these human beings and shit. Because I know what it's like to be at the bottom of the totem pole as a black man.
Humanized.
Yeah, to be humanized. Yeah.
He was raised in a time, and even still, where they're saying we're 3/4 of a person. So now that same rhetoric is coming from Lestat when he's like, why are you, this is food. And he's like, nah, because before they were telling us we were, you know, slaves. And I don't like that. But I think there's also nuances that, and that's something that white guy brings up to Louis, is that he was raised Creole, he was raised rich. And he was raised in this microcosm where racism isn't the same as it is everywhere else in America, particularly in the South. And once he gets to France, that racism shit leaves his mind. Once he's in there, we will fall. He's not thinking about it anymore.
That's facts.
That's why he doesn't bring it up to Santiago when he sees like how he treated like Claudia Remains and just the minstrel show that he watched. He never brings it up again because that's out of his mind when he's in France.
Wow, he almost like becomes a whole new person in a sense.
And that was his goal.
Yeah, I think it was his goal, and I think he wanted to leave his old self behind with Lestat. I think there is a level of like he didn't feel powerful, and how season 1 ended, he didn't feel like he could stand up to Lestat and actually kill him, even though everything that he had done to him. So he like almost like try to transform himself into a new person, a badass. I'm gonna pick up photography. I'm a badass now. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, you moved to a new city, nigga. You was a bum in your last city, nigga.
Do.
That's what they do. That's what they do.
Yeah. New gear. He picked a new profession, which he wasn't good at. And he does all these things, and he's like, he's not even acknowledging his pretty privilege, right?
For sure.
And how that's
and his wealth, his class privilege as well. You know what I mean? Because he's always been somebody with that
privilege when he goes to Paris. I don't think in Paris.
Oh, not in Paris. When he was home. When he was home. I mean, he grew up like that.
He was moving different. Yeah. I think also.
Go ahead, David.
Sorry. No, I was gonna say he also you also really see that it's like a child. So much of that relationship is very still childish, right? It's like when you were a kid and you idolize your parents, and like he had a very sort of idealistic idea of Lestat, of a lot of this shit about like, you know, what humanity meant. And then when that parent or that figure or that situation fails you, it's like, well, fuck that. I'm gonna go change. I'm gonna do the new thing. Like I'm gonna be the new version. And I was super negative and traumatized back then, but I figured it out. I went to therapy. I know some words. I'm good now. Like you guys, like Lestat was like in a lot of ways the two interview separations are him being like, that was then when I was like really broken, but I've got my shit together now. I went to France.
I'm more cultured now. I'm different. I got a new French boyfriend.
You
know what you saying, Frankie? Yeah.
No, I was agreeing with what you're saying. I wholeheartedly agree.